Hello and welcome, my Taurus collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign. Welcome to your work, career, and vocation read for February and March 2021. I am your reader, Angelo, Lyons, Mal for short. Professional witch, professional intuitive, president of DrawingTheCircle Productions, fellow Earth sign Virgo. I understand Taurus. The Archangel of Lyons, Angelo Lyons, but you can call me Mal. Hi. Ready to do your 9-card work, career, vocation read while I'm also doing the Timeless True Love readings because it's good. It gives me a bit of a spectrum to play on here. So very happy to be serving you today. As you notice, this is for February and March because work, career, and vocation stuff, the 3 levels of power in terms of life purpose. Particularly over the past year, I think we can agree it might be a little bit more slow and steady wins the race. So you might want to check last month, right? The January, February's to see if there is a connective link there. Otherwise, let's just get down in this gig. It's a general read. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. We're looking at 3 levels of power, work, career, vocation. That's just one of many 3 levels of power. There's a link by Carolyn Myss, MYSS. We're using her archetype cards as the first 3 cards down, explaining the archetype of the 3 levels of power, because you can look at pretty much anything in life through those 3 lenses. I like the one she says, eau de toilette, cologne, and perfume. 3 levels of power, of strength, right? In this case, we're looking at work, lower 3 chakras, root, sacrum, solar plexus, the outside world, physical power, what you do for a living or what you do to survive, right? Heart, throat, third eye, crown, that's the personal level of power, the mental, emotional world, what you hunger. Like your career is something that really kind of engages more of your internal world than your external world. How many artists' career wait tables, or at least used to, right? You know, in work, what you do to survive so that you can do your career. And then sort of what illuminates all of that guides you forward, your vocation. That's that 8th chakra stuff, visionary intuition, right? Your spiritual calling, your vocation, and to bring them all into alignment is not necessarily necessary, but certainly have an understanding of how it all interrelates, because it's all your spiritual path, but through life purpose in 3 levels. You with me? So all the decks that I read are always in the bottom of the description box. We'll be using Daughters of the Moon Tarot to get the more internal experience of the 3 levels, the Mythic Tarot for the more external experiences of that. So you get the clues, tips, and hints you need to navigate this for the rest of February and all of March. Cool. I think that's about it. Oh yeah, quick business. I'm now doing online tarot parties on my Drawing the Circle Productions Facebook page. If you only 10 people per party, because I'm not overloading myself so far. I'm only doing 1 a week, but I would do more. I would certainly do more. They're a lot of fun. They're actually parties. Like, you know, grab a drink, right? We're going to do pajama party this next time. Mondays, right now we're doing Mondays Eastern time, 7:30 p.m. on, till everybody gets read. And it's Zoom format, and it's a lot of fun. So there's a link for that down there, as well as my book, Words of Grace, is getting ready. We're in the last 9 yards, I should say the last 2 weeks at this point. We're going to try and launch it on Amazon. The full moon in Virgo, because I'm a Virgo, and why not? Okay, it's good to like edit, get it all ready for the launch on full moon. So that being said, I guess that's enough. General read, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Tons of links downstairs in the description box if you want to check them out. And if you want to book me for a personal read, this is work, career, vocation. Easy enough to find. Find me on social media. We'll set something up. I got Zoom, Facebook Messenger video call is like the best so far I've come across. But, you know, as platforms evolve, right? Let's do this. Feet on the ground if you can, Taurus, right? Follow your breath if you will, Taurus, along with me. And let's see what I can get you from my pantheons of the divine. Please take a nice deep breath. Particularly with all we've been through, so much change, so many inflection points, not just individually, right, but not just nationally, but globally. So here we go, please, my collective pantheons of angels, archangels, goddesses, gods, ascended masters of life purpose, and the higher selves of all involved, please. I need 3 cards face down. Caroline Myss archetype deck. What are the dominant archetypes the Taurus collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs watching this video, receiving this read, will be dealing with within themselves, within their work, career, and vocation? February and March 2021. Let's start with the work archetype. Survival, lower three chakras. Survival intuition, how they survive in the world. It feels like that for a Taurus, I don't know why. For their career, heart, third eye, crown, their emotional thirst, their mental hunger, that thing, their passion that drives them, heart, third eye, crown, creative intuition. And for their calling, their vocation, 8th chakra, their inspiration, their guiding light, the higher self, the higher dimensional stuff from whence the inspiration comes, the visionary intuition that goes into the creative intuition that needs to be navigated with the survival intuition. 3 levels of power, February, March 2021. Okay, this is only the second reading in this series because I do them Aries to Pisces because I'm a Virgo. And in the first one we had a survival family archetype, as you do, but you have a different one now. There's the child, the victim, the saboteur, and the prostitute archetype. Carolyn Myss. Sacred contracts. It's the trunk of the archetypal tree. If you don't have your survival stuff down, it doesn't matter what the other are. Oh, I'm a healer, I'm an artist, but if the trunk is damaged, they're not getting the nutrients they need. There, I just gave you arboreal metaphor. So you got the prostitute archetype, which in work, are you kidding? This totally makes sense here. It's how you survive. Now, there is shadow and light here. The shadow attribute places material considerations and security above self-empowerment. And that's how we learn how to survive, by doing that, right? I face it all the time, even being a YouTuber, things I could do to cut corners, and well, if I just did this and I could do more readings and I could, because I'm monetized, and I'm like, this is my sacred art. I can't do that. I can't prostitute myself in my work. Apparently, I never could, because I've got a happy hooker archetype inside of me, which is the prostitute archetype has very little to do with actual sex worker prostitution, but I will say there is that aspect of negotiation, which is here in the light attribute, accentuates the challenge of surviving without negotiating the power of your spirit. And that is hard to do in a global situation like we find ourselves in, where we are limited and constrained in our movements, and perhaps our old careers are no longer as physically viable as they used to be. So yeah, I understand having to pay the bills, absolutely, but the prostitute archetype is also the guardian of faith. Faith in the path, faith in yourself, faith in your skills, but certainly not easy in a time like this. In your career, you've got the engineer archetype, which I think pairs well with this, and you'll hear why. First of all, let's get the shadow out of the way. Reliance on mechanistic solutions without regard for emotional consequences, maybe even your own. Well, if I have to suck it up and do this, even though it'll crush my soul, I'll do it. Now, there are other archetypes there. We get to the light in this one, but that's like in the rescuer situation. Like if you're a rescuer, it's like, okay, this sucks, it absolutely sucks, it's gonna kill me, but I have to do it, right? It's a little different. Hero on the journey, it's a different character in the story. The engineer archetype is the creative family of archetype, and this is the creative intuition lane, if you will. Heart, third eye, and crown. So catch this. Ability to give creative energy a practical expression. And here's the one I think that's really going to hit home. Talent for designing resolutions to common dilemmas. Like, oh my God, I'll give you the perfect example. When my career got hit by lightning, it was like the Hale-Bopp comet. It's, man, just string of pearls, bam, bam, bam. Oh, no, that was Schumacher comets. I am not the astronomer. I do not know for sure. But it was like demolished. My career was demolished. That's when I wrote Words of Grace. It saved my life, writing that book through prayer, through meditation. And I'm glad it's going out to people on Amazon. Believe me, I am. Which is why we're making sure every T is crossed, every I dotted. But I had to come up with practical solutions, and becoming a YouTuber was part of that. I actually started doing things on YouTube, recording my teaching work that I've done and vlogging and stuff 3-4 years before I even started doing readings here, right? But I've been a reader longer, right? So it's finding that, and yes, I had to ask for help. Yes, I had to ask for help. I got backers. I got people who said, look, until you're ready, to really do this on your own. And then, by the way, I was in place before the world caught up with me, where everybody was working from home or not. You know what I'm saying? So you have this skill inside of you, and I'm really getting loud and clear, talent for designing resolutions to a common dilemma, but be careful of relying on a mechanistic solution, right? Mechanistic solution, no regard for the emotional consequences of you or others, not just you and another, but others. I feel like this is more about you, my Taurians. But fear not, this is very interesting. You've got the networker archetype in the 8th chakra in your calling, right? Your vocational calling. This is absolutely about communication, certainly. And in today's day, you kids and you crazy interwebs, right? You can fart in Geneva and hear it in Hong Kong simultaneously. Well, perhaps a slight delay, right? Smell-o-vision. I just got a polyester flashback. But this is creative family archetypes. So you got 2 creative family archetypes and a survival one. So this could be very much you as a Taurus having the values that you have, not just the things that you value outside, but your own interior values, like the things I want to do about, yes, of course I want to be comfortable, but I don't want to have to negotiate my soul for that, right? You selling your soul, even though you don't have a soul, you are a soul. It's another story. So this networker archetype in the shadow, this is not going on planet Earth much, is it? Conveys information only for personal gain, spreads falsehood and fear. Let's just move on. That's probably not you. Let's just go right to the right attribute. Just be aware of shit in the air, which also rhymes. You can guarantee the angels and the gods just said that. The light attribute enhances unity through the sharing of information, engenders social awareness and empathy. Now, I have no planets in Taurus, but this is essentially what I do. But this part of it, aside from the actual doing of the reading, the communicating of that, right? The networking part, the social networking part is now so much a part of my business that I liked social media before, but it had to become part of my 9 to 5. And actually, when you're self-employed, it's your 24/7, 365. So I'm getting that. There's inspiration coming to you, but it's spiritual. It's part of your calling. So as a Taurus, to put out true content, if that's your thing, I can't get away from this feeling of the internet here, that is at least a part of this, because it's so how we communicate now, particularly over the past year. Again, I'm tiptoeing around that subject, but it might even be through that you get inspiration and guidance through. Okay, I have a condition, and it's tarot elbow. TAROTELBOW. It's tennis elbow, but I haven't played tennis since the 80s. So it's gotta be from doing these readings, right? So what did I do? I watched a bunch of things on trigger points and yoga, and I educate. I'm an autodidact, and I'm a self-healer. I live alone, right? But from that, I got the information I needed to come up with a practical solution to an everyday problem. And I gotta tell you, I've been doing it for 2 weeks now. Certainly, you do like this, you find the spot, like all different ones like that. It's really made a difference. So it might be just that, so that you can really do what you got to do to survive here without tossing your faith out the window, right? Your faith in yourself, the faith in the divine, the faith in the path that you're always on, whether you realize it or not. And you can't screw up the divine plan, darlings. It's all quantumly scripted. Let's find out what's going on, how this feels as you hit it. Please take a nice deep breath. Yes, indeed. Whew, that was a lot of information. That was a lot for 3 fucking cards down. So please, my goddesses of Earth and the Sun of Taurus, nothing like a good earthly laugh from my goddesses. Please, you clarify this. What does this feel like? Heart, throat, third eye, and crown for each level of power, work, career, vocation. For this Taurus collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus Sign, watching this video, receiving this reading for February and March 2021, please face down for the prostitute. I'm sorry, no, I'm not. For the engineer, right? Prostitute in their work. Work that corner. the engineer in their career, their creative intuition, and please clarify that networker in their calling their visionary. All right, let's see what this feels like on the inside for you. Okay. All right, got it. Literally, you go from the 2 to the 3 of Pentacles here. So we'll start with her. The 2 of Pentacles balance, so you are juggling. It's what it feels like. I'm doing this, but then I'm doing this, and you're trying like crazy to keep your balance. Wow, okay, look, I'm a dancer. I trained, right? So anything that involves repetitive turns, chaîné turn, pirouette, you know, whatever, anything like that, particularly with traveling, you always want to, like, find the spot. It's called spotting. You find the spot, and then you turn until you can't turn anymore, and your head whips back and finds that spot. It feels like if you make that spot your higher power, whatever you want to call that, Zeus, Buddha, Jesus, and Jana, Fred, Wilma, oh, Diana, Kal-El, and Clark, right? Whoever your higher power is, right? To say, okay, I am going to have faith here. I am going to accentuate that I am going through a challenge here that I can go through without negotiating the power of my spirit, but it is going to be a dance, and you're not being graded on it, my darlings. The worst judgment that will come to you, I'm hearing already, is the one you will give to yourself. So you might as well be authentic to yourself. And by the way, you're Taurus, and this is the bull leapers. There's a bull right there for you. There's no door, otherwise it would be adorable. Sorry. I'm not a dad, but I'm 52. Fucking dad humor possesses me. Cannot possess me now. Oh, you've got, like I said, the 3 of Pentacles here. The engineer in the internal world, absolutely molding the clay. You're already doing it. You may not be aware of it. It's like, well, but if I do this, and I do this, and I do this, totally makes sense for the juggling, right? So I don't feel like you're going to give up on your career, particularly if it is something that is more creative than what others might conceive practical. You know, doing YouTube readings may not seem all that practical to the members of my family, and bless their hearts, they love me. I have their support. But I come from like doctors and lawyers and engineers, interestingly enough, but we all have our own companies, right? We all have our own firms, our own whatever it is. We're a strong family. That's why I named them after the Olympian gods, because it's true. So this engineer, it feels very Hephaestus, I will say that, but you got your hands in the clay. Clay woman takes what she's got, the dirt beneath her feet, right? Has to separate the dirt from the clay, right? Has to process it. 3 of Pentacles is very much, yes, can even be about collaboration, but this is on the inside. So this is about sort of like feeling all of that, moving all of that, viscerally sounding it out. How does this feel in my body in terms of your career, to come up with, I'll call it what it is, a practical workaround, so that while you're juggling the survival stuff, you can still do your thing. Sometimes because it goes from a 2 to a 3, it might be evolving what you do so that it involves your career, right? Because it goes from the 2 to the 3 like that, like implementing it somehow. All right, I'll tell a personal story. They're like, say this. You know, like I said, I was a dancer. I was trained in musical theater. Really, I should have trained individual disciplines. The musical theater world is like micro, tiny compared to the rest of show business. But it did save my life. Because if I had gone that route, I'd be dead. I would be doing this. I'd be dead by now. I had to take the healer's path. But everything I learned back then, starting really young, I started in like the arts training, performing arts in particular. I was of the fame generation, if you know what I mean. Always wanted that change, drop water on myself, but mother said absolutely not on this carpet. But I keep that to this day with my showmanship. That's just written into me. Everything I learned from retail, right? Because like everything I learned along the way, the wisdom that I got from the experience is still inside me, and I bet you anything that has to do with this. However, I think this is where really the worm turns, so to speak. You got the 4 of Cups on the inside with this card of the networker. Yes, the card is called sorrow, and it is a bit of an emotional thing. This is where we see 3 cups spilt, 1 cup standing. Usually you see that in the 5. I love how Fiona played with it a bit. this could really be being influenced by the pain and the suffering that's going on in the world via the internet, via social media, the networker. Like, I feel like this is something that I just feel like could weave together your career, whatever that is, that engineer. Because I don't know if you're necessarily an engineer in your career, right? That's a little on the nose. That maybe that's true for some of you. I'm not feeling that, though. Social engineer, right? Family engineer, right? That's totally in the realm of probability. But this really feels more like, okay, I have to make money. So common. This is so common in the world, I'm sure. My career, my work in the world has changed, so I have to kind of like try not to prostitute myself doing that while I come up with this interesting way of this workaround so that I can keep my career going, what's really fulfilling me, heart, throat, third eye, crown. And that I could be inspired by the pain and suffering that's going on the planet right now. It just feels like maybe there's a way to monetize this for yourself, work, career, vocation, maybe collaboration with others, right? All right, what does this look like on the outside? I'm picking up what the divine is laying down here, but let's get your last 3 cards down and get lower 3 chakras, the physical aspect of this, either what this is about on the outside or how you appear from the outside looking in. Please take a nice deep breath. My gods of earth and the sign of Taurus. Please, 3 cards in clarity for this Taurus collective: Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign in their work, career, vocation, February and March 2020. They got the Prostitute archetype with 2 of Pentacles, balance on the inside. So they're really trying to balance this. And I have a feeling this is like, oh God, I really don't want to have to do this. But if I have to, I have to, right? That challenge of comfort versus faith. What does that look like on the outside? The engineer in their career, right? That creative thing, the thing that I feel like is really of high value to them. Right, not something that they want to just give up, but something that they're going to take what perhaps is left of it and sculpt it into something else, but it hasn't been put in the fire yet. It's still moldable clay at the 3. So please, what does that look like on the outside for my Taurians? And with that networker, that 4 cups, I don't always read that as sorrow. Right? That can be meh, right? That could be boredom. I don't feel it. I feel like this is like almost a visceral, empathic, yet very, very 8th chakra feeling or at least acknowledging the suffering of others on the planet. Almost something humanitarian in play here. It certainly could be. So please, what does that look like on the outside, my gods, in their vocation, February, March 2021? Well, for this prostitute, right, the prostitute archetype, remember everybody has that. It's not that you are the prostitute archetype, you have the prostitute archetype. That is the correct language for it because everybody has it, right? 2 of Pentacles, finding your balance, but with the 4 of Cups. Now here's the 4 of Cups of how this feels in the 8th chakra, how it feels. What's going on? So that sympathy, I bet you anything from the outside looking in, whatever it is that your spiritual calling is calling you to do, you are seeing it in the physical world in your work. Maybe seeing other people struggle emotionally. Maybe it's the empathic feelings that you get of watching people who are also having to struggle to find balance and possibly, you know, giving up on their dreams, which that unfortunately has been so undervalued in the past 20 years. I will say I was raised with follow your dream, follow your stars, nothing you can't do because you're going to live forever. You're going to learn how to fly high, right? And hopefully you see it coming together. People who see me and cry. Ah! The fame generation. Oh! Flashback. So that 4 of Cups, right? It's like this might very well be that every day in your work you are confronted with something that is in the outside world, that 4 of Cups that is triggering you in terms of your calling, what you really came in to do in this life. Totally makes sense. The engineer, you say, archetype I have, Mark, Angelo, Lyons, Mel for short, with molding the clay inside. Well, let's put the card of the sun out there. This really makes you happy. This really makes you happy. This engages you not just creatively, but inspirationally, allows you to take what the 8th chakra is transmitting and receive it, right? From the 8th through the crown, through the 3rd eye, through the throat, through the heart. Bam! I feel like there is something humanitarian and healing here that you can do that you're not going to know how it's going to go until you do it. The Apollo is the god of the sun, obviously. Technically it's Helios, the actual sun driver, but whatever. The Titanomachy was confusing in the fallout, right? The political fallout of that. Read Circe by Madeline Miller, the genius. But he's also the god of vision and prophecy, the father of the muses. The only reference I can give you that is Xanadu with Olivia Newton-John and Michael Beck, but just prepare yourself if you've never seen it, and please make sure you're sober, because seeing that on anything else might leave a little bit of an aftertaste. Orbing before orbing was a thing. Look, with this 3 of Pentacles, it's like you are being blessed with the clarity comes through your career in terms of what to do with this inspiration, because wait till you see what crosses it, the Mythic Tarot card, so that you don't negotiate your spirit. Let's just go there. You got the Pisces card, the Knight of Cups. There is something heroic here. There is something bringing that message of love forth, but I'm telling you, it's humanitarian. It's not romantic. You're feeling the emotion. So let me put this together. They're giving it to me like a paragraph here. So, oh, I can totally do this with the blessing. Yay. Breathe. My pantheons of the divine, may the Taurus collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs be blessed with all that they need in their work, career, vocation, February and March 2021, that they may develop this networker archetype within their vocation, listening to their following to feel and acknowledge the pain and suffering of others globally, socially, racially, financially, however that comes to them, so that they may be that loving knight, taking that message of that cup to the world as they take that inspiration and turn it into creativity with the engineer archetype, finding a practical way of bringing this inspiration, this creativity into expression and designing resolutions to common dilemmas which may well save lives, if that's what this is about for some of you, but may also be about the emotional support, networking spiritually through something with a practical application that they can get their hands in the clay with, that is just bringing them so much joy, so much happiness, so much art, so much purpose, so much clarity about who they are, so that in their work in the world, they can really know that even if they have to suck it for a little bit, and bite down and grin and bear it, that they are not compromising the truth of their spirit to survive, that they're doing what is necessary in order to really find the balance that they need to bring this awareness and this support and this balance to not just themselves, but other people perhaps around the world in some way, shape, or form, bringing their work, career, and vocation into a more reconciled, congruent movement of energy from 8th chakra to root out into the world, bringing them a great deal of internal personal light and pleasure and creativity in their career for the well-being of all. So motivate. And so it is, Taurus. I gotta tell you, it feels like you've got a higher purpose to this, so do not be fooled. Yeah, you might be a little meh with what you're doing in the physical world, but no, 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 no. There is higher purpose here for you, but that's the journey, and that's why the spiritual path isn't just about your chakras, and it's not just about what you do in the world, or just your relationships, or your meditative prayer time. It's all of that, and the bag of chips. Bag of chips. Drag queen, her too, on the hero's journey that we are all on as souls incarnate into form. And remember, you may not know this, but maybe a part of you will remember this. You didn't choose this life. You were chosen to play the role, like an actor cast for a very, very important role. And I do feel like you are the right soul for the work, career, and the vocation here. So thank you for watching. If you liked it, hit the thumbs up. You want more, subscribe, because I ain't stopping anytime soon. I'm putting them out more slowly, but I'm putting out quality rather than quantity, and still making sure there's content pretty much every day on the channel. And I'm going to be working with other readers and teachers as well, bringing them on the channel. And again, if you're interested, you want to come to a tarot party and hang out with me, get a drink, right, pajamas, put your hair up in pigtails. Even if you're a guy, you're welcome to do that. I will. I will do that for one of them. Maybe for pajama night, I will put myself up in pigtails because it's so easy to take me seriously as is, right? It's just Annette Funicello it. So anyway, wish you all the very, very best. Check the links in the description box. My book is coming out. Buy it when it comes because it's really good and the reviews are coming in. Anyway, wishing you all the very best and the very blessed of your work, career, and vocation. My bulls, love you so much. Hail, farewell, and blessed, blessed be.